Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bob and AJ Applegarth.
All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name's Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, co-host AJ Applegarth. What's up, man?
Hola.
All right, good talk. And our
Let's talk about
our baseball
okay. Not my own personal
second, third host, whatever. I don't know. Dap, what's up, man?
Hey, man, what's going on?
A lot, but in a good mood. We have finally hit the breaking point on our YouTube channel. We are monetized. Woohoo! Yeah. Woo! All right. Sorry for all the ads, people, but gotta make some money.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And we're out.
And it's already paused.
Yeah. People are already closed. They're not even getting this far. Anyway, so tonight, we're going to be jumping into some players that we're calling it the breakout or bust, right? And so what we mean by this is some players who started off the season hot, whether it be the first couple weeks in May or, maybe kind of spread into the early part of May, but have really slowed down. Like they were on breakout pace. Maybe not anymore. So we gotta maybe pump the brakes, or do we? Or is it just a little bit of a slump? So we're gonna look into some of that. Before we jump into all that, though, I just want to remind everybody to please hit that subscribe button, hit those like buttons, leave those comments. We appreciate it, and of course, go to fantasysixpack.net/plans and become an all-access member. You can get access to the most accurate rankings for fantasy baseball out there. Our award-winning fantasy football rankings are also posted for the multiple different ways you can play: redraft, dynasty, IDP, rookie drafts, you name it. It's all out there. We've got DFS content, betting content, and our Discord where you can get access to all of us and ask us your customized league questions. And that's where it's at, guys. So without further ado, let's jump into things here.
I love it.
So breakout or bust. And so we're going to start with a guy that probably just talked about like a week ago because he was literally on fire. And that is Christopher Morel of the Chicago Cubs. This dude had like one of the most amazing like 2-week stretches of baseball. And if I'm looking at the stats here for Morel, he had in early May a WRC plus of 217. So for the first couple of weeks in May, he was crazy good. Right. He has now dropped. His late May, it was still pretty good overall, but has dropped to 145.
Okay.
But the stats, even just in the last week, are worse than that. So going in the wrong direction and going in the wrong direction fast. I believe he's got 2 hits in the last week-ish, like since the 24th. Yep. So not good. After binging on home runs for the first part of the month, he has not hit any. So what are we taking from Morel? Was the early part of May a fluke, Dap, or is he going to come back?
Right. Look, first off, I mean, that was probably one of the hottest stretches of like that I can remember, recently for the last couple of seasons. And as baseball has always shown us, right, somebody gets super hot, there's going to be a drop off. There's constant, adjustments being made by both the pitcher, the hitters, etc. So it's going to time that he needs to adjust back. Just to kind of go a little bit further with what you were saying, just the last couple of games, he was 2 for 19, but the things that just stood out, right? He's almost 40% K rate, And his WRC, which should be positive, I don't even want to get into what the number should be, right? It's about 100, it's, league average. It's negative 54. So just without, again, getting into it, bad, right? So, but here's the positives. He's on the Cubs, which means that he has a ton of at-bats available to him. They need somebody to, step up. And I don't think it's a fluke in the sense of when you start, smacking home runs. Baseball is too hard of a sport to just hit that many home runs and just be kind of fluky about it. I think he's going to have to adjust to the other pitches. I don't think we're going to, see the home run binge that we did see before. But I think there is a moral to the Morel, somewhere in between all this.
Hey.
I don't. And I need to just thank my writer real quick. Thank you. I know they're on a strike, but you did good there. Anyways.
Funny.
Yeah. I mean, look, he has amazing tools. We were always waiting for him to come up this season. So the talent's there. This isn't like some unknown prospect that just came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. But for sure, we weren't expecting this at all. And again, 11 home runs in the minors. We talked about this last show in 29 games. So their power numbers are there. I just you definitely, if you own them, you gotta this is the time where either hopefully you sold high if you can afford to do that, or you're just gonna have to wait it out and wait for him to adjust. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and you see this with rookies, young guys all the time. They're even the best go through these, stretches where you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
That's going to happen even more with young players. And, he's just going through one right now, unfortunately. So I think, I ultimately think he's going to be fine. Like, as you said, 11 home runs or however many home runs he hit already. Like, he's hit 9 home runs in 19 games. But he hit like 9 of those in the first 12. Like, right. That's just not sustainable. Right. That's like record-breaking pace. Let's put it that way. So
another record-breaking pace here is the 0% walk rate in early May. That is astounding to me. Yet his K rate was almost 40%.
Right.
Again, 4 homers. So it's like, okay, well, I guess he's not walking. He's just crushing the ball. So. Yeah, I agree with Dap's points about it being the Cubs. I mean, I almost laughed when he said, hey, this is a good place, but I mean, it is for the at-bats. That's about
right.
It. But the team's not really in any kind of shape to be making a legit run towards the playoffs right now. So, they may have some of their pieces traded off too come another month or so.
Morel will likely not be one of those trade-off players.
No, he will.
He's too valuable. He's too young. There's no way. I mean, that's why the Cubs acquired all of these old heads out there so that they could hopefully get good and then trade them off for younger pieces. That is 100% the reason why they did it. Yep. So next up here, we're going to talk about Triston Casas. We're talking about a guy who came up in this early part of May, a WRC plus of 147, pretty solid. Lately down to 67. So there was a glimmer of hope, it seems like, but it seems like it's turning in the wrong direction. Again, these are kind of smallish sample sizes, but with these types of players, we're talking about that 14-day range where it matters with guys that are going to fluctuate like this. They're kind of streamable players, a lot of them. Maybe not Morel, but Casas is be in that category. And so, Dap, what's your initial thoughts here, and what do we do with Casas?
Oh, I own too many shares of Casas. Just I'm gonna just like you're watching, CNBC where they tell you like I own shares of this company. I own too many shares of Casas. I'm gonna just let you know I'm a Casas truther. If you look underneath the stats, right? Like if you look at any of his metrics, everything's in the red except for obviously strikeouts and things of that nature. But if you're in an OBP league, Triston Casas is definitely, your man. And if you look at, hard hit percentages and those types of things, right? Definitely one of the top hitters in all those metrics. I keep waiting for this to turn around. I mean, that's all it comes to. Like you go to, I've become that Twitter walking dead person that's like looking for Triston Casas just for some like happy news. And it's like, and all I see is like, oh, look how hard, this ball was that he hit into somebody's glove, or look at how well he took this 14 pitch at bat. I mean, at the end of it, he struck out, but there's 14 pitches. It just gets to a point where he needs to just start producing some of these counting stats. I mean, yes, you can look back a couple of weeks where he hit, some huge bombs. And that's the thing. Casas is a bunch of, extremes. Extreme walk percentage, extreme ability to, see pitches. And when he does hit the ball, man, he hits it hard and he hits it far. But that's not what we get money for. I mean, that's not where you get the stats for in fantasy, right? You get for 5 categories typically, unless you're in a different league. And he's just not producing enough, frankly. I mean, he's been riding my bench in almost every league except one, which is like a 30-teamer. And I just don't know how anybody can start him right now until I start seeing him be put back together.
Yeah.
The fans are clamoring for him to go to AAA. But again, you look at those metrics and he should be producing way higher than what he's doing now. He's a quandary. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, take out his game on the 26th of May, where he went 3 for 5, 2 runs, 1 RBI, 600 OBP. And he's been pretty terrible this last, few weeks, really, since the 15th of May. He's got 1, 2, 3, 5 hits, a handful of runs, 3.
Yep.
1 homer. I mean, that's not inspiring much confidence in anything other than, yay, I found somebody I can definitely keep on my bench. Like if you have too many offensive bats that you want to get in your lineup. I mean, on the season, he's only hitting 193. I mean, I feel like this should be better. I expected more out of him. Maybe these are just some growing pains, whatnot, but I don't know. I mean, he's another guy with a near 40% K rate in late May, and only a 7.5% walk rate. I mean, this seems to be the theme here that we're going to talk about. No walks and lots of Ks.
All right, so let me ask you both this question then. If Triston Casas is out there on the trade block from some other team, are you going out to acquire him? Is he an acquisition candidate for you guys?
Oh, not. I'd have to be pretty desperate at first base in order to do it. I just feel. I know first base is the wasteland, but we've talked about it many times where there's been some guys kind of come out of nowhere this year that have been valuable, and it just seems like there's constantly somebody popping up like the next hot bat. It seems to be a first baseman. Why not just keep doing that and not have to worry about a 193 batting average from Triston Casas, which lately has been way worse. I mean, even in an OBP league, you're looking at him and you're going, oh, cool, 14.5 walk rate. Right. Great. That still means his OBP is 308 because you can't do it on base other than walking, it seems like. So, again, to your point, he should be better with, only a 20. I get it, 28% strikeout rate's bad. Not horrible in today's game.
Right.
It's definitely not the worst.
Below 30. Yeah.
And then you add a 14.5% walk rate. You're thinking, okay, that's pretty decent, but it's still he just hasn't gotten on base enough. His hard hit rate just isn't enough. He's just not hitting the ball clean enough. His barrels are not there, and so it's just not. It's not a complete game from him yet. I do think it's coming. Maybe not this year. I mean, maybe next year is the true breakout year for Casas. We're gonna see glimpses of it this season, I feel like, but it's gonna come in waves. Speaking of coming in waves here with a hot or not player here, and it's Nolan Gorman. I mean, we've talked about him a few times on the show earlier this season. 237 WRC through the first part of May, down to 111. Still an above average hitter, so not horrible. But I mean, is the true breakout potential shine gone for you, Dap?
No, I'm not at all. Because, well, first off, again, I can't state this enough. I thought, I thought he was going to become a part-time batter this year. I thought he was going to be on a platoon for sure. I mean, we're talking a week, maybe I think about 7 days ago, he was on a 15-game hitting streak, May 25th time frame. So, again, like we talked about, there's going to be cold streaks. I think Nolan Gorman, again, we've highlighted one of the big changes in his approach, which is always something I look at, right, to see if there's luck or longevity here. He's changed his two-strike approach. He changed his approach to high fastballs, especially, which is a huge hole in his game. And I think that this is just one of those cold streaks that's going to happen throughout the season. And I think Nolan Gorman for sure is somebody to, if you could buy low on him, heck yeah. I'm buying all of Nolan Gorman I can. But yeah, this is short term for me.
Yeah, Gorman is actually the first guy that I'm looking at here with late May where he actually has some walks, 10%, but he's just over 30% for the K rate. Excuse me, I want to say he had over the last 30 days he's had 23 strikeouts. 18 of those have come in the last 15 days. So he's definitely missing balls a lot more over these past couple weeks. I think this is just a blip for him. He's still got okay OBP. I mean, you can live with it at 317 for late May. But that's down from a 444.
Yeah, early May. So yeah, he got 360 overall for the year.
Drastic, drastic changes that we're seeing with him. But I definitely think this is just a blip for him. I'm on board with you guys as well. If someone's looking to get rid of him for second base, I mean that's kind of a dead zone too. So I'm all in on trying to trade for him.
And I think that's always the key here, right? Is that do you become a buyer or seller right now? And there's going to be people that are going to freak out in late May, early June. But and they're going to try to sell. And this is the time you pounce. And if anybody is selling Gorman right now at any type of a discount, grab them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, 100% agree there. Next on our notes here, we're going to go to somebody who plays for your favorite team, Dap, and that's Brent Rooker. This guy, man, was like the hot waiver ad for quite some time. Came out like gangbusters when he got the call. Now, granted, his early May WRC plus was 118. That wasn't his peak. He was way better than that for a little while. Right. Now he's down to 34 over the last couple of weeks. So pretty massive drop. He has firmly supplanted himself on my bench. I'm still hoping for a slight bounce back, but man, looking at some of the underlying stats here, I'm not really sure it's going to happen. What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why when you see somebody DFA'd by a team, which is what he was by the Twins, there's not a lot of people that come back from that graveyard. Rooker, when he went off, it was always a matter of when he was going to come back down. Now, do I believe there's a chance for, Rooker to come back to the level where he was earlier in this year? Absolutely. I mean, I think he can. I mean, this guy has shown he can get hot before. He's shown he's got mammoth power. And if you look at his, baseball savant page, he's still red in all the right places, except for, whiffs.
Strikeouts and whiffs. Yep.
Right. And chasing. But,
Chase rate's
in
the middle.
Yeah. But, I think this is a guy who, there's two things going on here. One, I'm almost sure he's going to get, sold because he has some value, and the A's just seem like they're just, I don't know what the heck they're doing. They hate their fans and they hate their players, so I think they're probably going to sell Rooker.
Somebody shows any sort of talent, they're like, oh no, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
Whoa. Easy, buddy.
I mean, how dare you cash those checks? So and if he leaves, one of the worst hitting stadiums, right? O.co is just a cavern. Watch out.
Aren't they building a minor league park in Vegas for them to all hit from? He should do well there, right?
Exactly. if he's still on the team at that point, I mean, who knows? They might give him the wrong address and he might end up somewhere else. But I think that this is going to be definitely somebody that contenders are going to be looking for. I think that somebody could be probably had cheaply. Knowing, I just looking at the trades that the A's have made recently, I mean, the AL or NL East are just going to eat him alive on some type of trade deadline thing. So I would look to see if he gets traded and see what kind of trade, where he ends up. But the second piece is I think he's going to get hot. Drop him for sure if you need to drop him, but keep an eye out, because if he hits, that home run, and then the next game he starts filling up the stat sheet, you're going to want to pick him up quick. So it's one of those things where he's going to make you pay if you drop him and forget him. For sure, I see a hot streak at some point this season. A couple weeks. This is definitely the kind of player that could do it for you.
He has one barrel in the last 2 weeks. That's pretty bad.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Charles Rooker won a batting title at Mississippi State, I believe.
Wow.
Well, that's the difference between college and the pros, because that ain't happening for him.
Well, I mean, give him a metal bat.
Pretty shocking.
Give him a metal bat. Maybe he'll do it again.
Right.
So speaking of metal bat versus wooden bat, totally off topic here, but what if instead of the corked bat, we had a sleeved bat that was metal on the inside
with the wood grain?
Had a random wood grain coating on it. I mean, I guess you'd still hear the.
I was about to say, if they somehow got rid of the ping, yeah.
I don't see that one working very well.
Just something to think about, people.
Yeah. Anyway, Deb, I agree with you. He's droppable, but watch out for the next hot streak. Go try to grab him. Hopefully, it doesn't burn you. But right now, he's doing you no good. He's another one of those streamable players. Nobody's buying him off of you. At least they shouldn't. If you can sell him, kudos to you. And I want in that league next year.
Yes,
hit me up.
for sure.
So are you not buying him then the rest of the season?
I'm going to be buying him at some point, but I'm buying him off the waiver wire.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want.
Right.
So we're actually making pretty good time. So let's rip through the rest of these. We kind of had our little break point here, but Mickey Moniak, another guy here, man. The first part of the month was on fire. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
294 WRC plus for the first 2 weeks of May.
Wow.
Just insane good. Now, the last part of May here, it's listing the last 2 weeks as 153. It's way worse than that the last week. I mean, he doesn't even play every day now. It's bad.
That's the big knock, because I went after him in my points league. It's like, oh, wow, he's got a ton of points out of nowhere.
Right.
I'm like,
right.
Okay, why not? I'll try this on.
It's exactly what I did. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It couldn't
2 weeks.
Can't be that bad. No.
Okay, all right. This is looking pretty good. I mean, he was putting up 7.5, a -0.5, a 5, 8.5, 8, and then he didn't play for 2 days or 2 games.
He just didn't play, which was the weird thing.
He's had 2 hits yesterday, so he had an okay game yesterday, but I mean, he's still striking out a ton. His OBP and his slugging is kind of all over the place. You just don't know what you're getting on this, but you're not getting much right now. And the fact that he can't be on the field every day really hurts him more than anything. Kind of like the Cubs, the Angels are a team where you should be able to get at bats if you're producing. Or if you're not producing, just throw them out there and see what happens. Moniak was a prized prospect coming up through the Phillies system. They traded him to LA, and I was ecstatic when they did, because I was tired of hearing about all of the hype behind him that he never showed. But I kept the tabs on him, and I looked and was like, okay, maybe he's turning around. Let's see what's happening. And now again, because I picked him up, he's screwing everybody. So you're welcome, America.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the kid does not walk at all. I mean, one walk on the entire season, I believe. But yeah, over the last week and a half, he's played in 4 games.
That's good, right? That's good.
That's really good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The last couple of games he's finally started hitting again, and he got the 2 runs yesterday. But yeah, it's just you can't stay on the field. A lot of swing and miss, no walks. And, I mean, that's why he's going to the bench, because it's a lot of swing and miss potential, and he's not walking. He's just the on-base percentage isn't there, and so the Angels are, they're in it to win some games, and he ain't doing it for him right now. So, what you got any thoughts, Dap, on that?
I mean, we're talking about the former first overall pick of the 2016 draft. I mean, I know AJ during the show prep said that he played for the Detroit Tigers, and I'm glad you corrected yourself, AJ, and now we got it right on the
totally
on the Phillies. Yeah, so I remember that. Look, I mean, there's again, I think that I just give you a couple of names. Just give you a couple names on the 2016 draft, right? They missed out on AJ Puck, which, I mean, he's doing better now, right? Kyle Lewis, always injured. Josh Lowe, Eric Kirilloff, and then a bunch of names on here that's always injured, like Forrest Whitley. I mean, it's a bad draft if you wanted a guy that's actually stay healthy. But he came as the first overall, but he wasn't showing much in the high minors with the Philly system. So I don't know. I never bought in on this resurgence, and especially if he's become a part-time player, that's not going to be how he learns or how he kind of corrects himself. So I am completely out on Moniak.
I mean, he's another one of those. I bought in on the hot streak, and as soon as it died off, I sold, and that's sold back to the waiver wire. That's all you could do. Like nobody's taking him off your hands. Guy here who's a little bit of a veteran, a little bit different than what we've been talking about so far. Right. Garrett Cooper. So been around the block a few times. Maybe not so much breakout potential, right? But I mean, like, he's never really had this like huge, massive season, but he's been hitting really well overall. 246 WRC plus in the first part of May, down to 34. I mean, like, was that just too good to be true? Like, man, I feel like Cooper's always been a guy that, like, he's got power, so like, why hasn't it worked? Right. I know he gets injured a lot, so that's not helping his cause over the last, his entire career. I don't know, Dap, like, could he turn things back around and like actually keep that hot start going, or he's just gonna fizzle back out at like, maybe 12 home runs on the whole season, maybe 15 at max, which is his career high?
So Garrett Cooper is always one of my friends on Best Ball. I love me some Garrett Cooper on Best Ball. And so when we brought up that, he was going to be on the show, I really wanted to dig a little deeper beyond the stats. And we can talk about the stats here in a second. But I want to point out one thing to everybody that's watching. So per Skip Schumacher, right, the manager, Garrett Cooper is experiencing similar symptoms to the illness that landed him on the IL a few weeks ago, and he's gone for further evaluation. So I think that the reason why he's been terrible the last couple of weeks, I just don't think he's completely right. Just to kind of give you an idea, right-handed pitching, right, he's starting to sit against right-handed pitching, which he shouldn't be doing. On the year, 117 plate appearances, 189 batting average with a 565 OPS. That's just not going to do it. So I really think there's something wrong there, fundamental. I mean, like, beyond, like, with his health, that's causing this, because honestly, there's too much talent. We've seen that throughout the years. This is not, like a Moniak situation where he's got suddenly hot just randomly. He's always been kind of a consistently kind of good player. Yes, he's had some definite peaks, but definitely Cooper should be much better than how he's playing.
Yeah, I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware of the injury aspect there with him. That's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, I guess right-handed hitters, his batting average on the year is 189, so kind of understand why he's sitting as righties right now. Right. If he can't get that figured out, but he's smashing lefties at 368. Yep. But you want to see a guy playing against righties. I mean, that's typically the strong side of the platoon. So,
Right.
You're gonna get a lot more games if you can play against righties. And if you're sitting against righties right now, then goodbye. You're not on my roster. I do not take guys who are on the short side of the platoon. Not even close. There's no point.
I feel like there's a joke somewhere to be had in there, but let's move on.
Well, the joke is on Dap here with this next guy, and we're gonna talk about his boy Taylor Walls. Sorry,
not where I was going, but
Oh, you got jokes. It's
circle back like 3 weeks ago when he was all over Taylor Walls. No, just kidding, man. For good reason.
Dap was on the
for good
short
reason,
and
man. He
long
started
side
off
of that
hot,
platoon.
came out of nowhere. WRC Plus in 2022. Just to put this in perspective, granted he like barely played, but
Right.
it's 66.
Right.
What he hit, like 2 home runs. I mean, I'm totally making that up, but it wasn't very many more than that. If it was more than, sorry. He hit 8. My bad. I'm sorry. He actually did hit more than I thought. He's already hit 7 on the. He's already hit 7 on the year. His batting average is 244.
Okay.
But it was way higher than that, right?
Right.
Before. WRC Plus in the beginning of May was 155 down to 52. I mean, the bottom has fallen out for him. I mean, I think this is another one where, like, maybe people wanted to see it. Kind of would have been almost like a feel-good story. Like, oh, the defensive guy figured out how to play, like, how to hit, right? Nah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, again, this is like the Nolan Gorman thing, right? I have Walls on a bunch of dynasty leagues, and I was trying to sell him at pennies on the dollar for anybody because exactly what you said. He's a defensive wizard, and when it comes to the Rays, you just can't trust somebody's going to be an everyday player unless it's Franco. That's about it. Franco and Yandy, and that's about it, right? Everybody else,
even Lau,
we don't know.
Can't get on the field every game. Like,
yeah, I know exactly.
Even then, every once in a while, you're like, why? Why is he sitting? Dude's
Like,
good.
He's playing against a Colorado pitcher, and wait, he's on the bench. What is he doing? It's just how it is with the Tampa Bay, right? So I was like, wow, Walls is suddenly hitting, and the thing is, like, he brought up his home run power, right? I mean, at no time, even in the minors, did he hit more than 6 home runs, except in 2021 when he hit 8 in AAA in 2021, right? So for him to start off as hot as he did, that was nuts. So again, dug a little deeper, and he knew, and he was quoted on MLB.com and with the Tampa Bay newspaper as well, and a couple other places, that he had a lot to prove, and he changed his batting stance and a couple other things. Now, changing batting stance lets you get to the ball better, great, but good Lord, the guy just was hitting home runs, and he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, stealing bases as well. But the key is that his OBP was almost 100 points higher than last year. I mean, that's where kind of we are right now, and about 50 points higher than the year before. Yeah. Now, mind you, yes, right, a lot more games, a lot more plate appearances, but he was striking out about the same. He's never been a big strikeout guy, about 25%. After all these other people we talked about, 30s, etc., and he's been a walk guy, right, 13%ish. It was him actually just hitting the ball that was always kind of the problem.
Right.
But guess what, though? You can almost put up with that, and with at least in the leagues I've seen, he's 3 position eligible: second, short. It's 2 position eligible: second, short. But he's stealing a ton of bases,
I was
right?
Gonna say,
and that's, I mean, yes, I know it's stolen base bonanza this year, but 15 stolen bases is not nothing. He's not going to give you any RBIs. This is not going to be his thing. But if you can get 20 home runs out of a guy like this, even 15, but he gives you 40 stolen bases, which he's easily going to outbeat, I think you kind of put up with these kind of slow points. You shouldn't be expecting home run power from Taylor Walls. If you drafted him, there's no way, and I would love for you to show me that you expected to have even double-digit home runs from this guy. So
I need you to prove to me that you actually drafted him. Let's be real. Unless you're in like a 32-team league, 30-team league, there's no way you drafted this guy. Let's be real.
Right.
No, but
unless you're on auto draft or something.
I draft for defense
I was gonna say, like,
only.
His WRC Plus in this last part of May has been bad, it's because of the power, and like his average has dipped considerably. But even with the few amount of times he's gotten on base, he's stolen 8 bases over the last 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's only gotten on base, 143 average, on base percentage 286, so he's still walking a good bit, but like that's nuts.
Yep.
And he's scored 7 of those times he's stolen a base too. That's the Tampa offense for you.
Yeah. It still hasn't cooled down.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually have a question here from Charles. Drop Liam Hendricks for Shawver. Need to find a gem and willing to gamble a bit. 10-team head-to-head league.
Hendricks. Oh, Hendricks. Okay,
I think it's
like,
Hendricks.
Yeah. Okay, I'm tired.
Hendricks.
I'm tired. All right. So, yeah, what do you guys think there? I'm going to let you because I mean, he's talking about AJ Smith Shawver, by the way. From the Braves. So if it's a head-to-head league, and we don't know, I mean, I don't know what your Charles. Great question. I don't know what your K. If it's K9, whip, what you're dealing with there. But if it's a saves only league, I definitely would not be dropping anybody that can give you saves. But if it's a saves hold league, then yeah, absolutely drop Liam all day long. I definitely think AJ Smith-Shawver is going to do amazing. I think he's going to have some amazing ratios as well. The only thing I'm concerned about, and this has nothing to do with any math, is that frankly, all the pitching prospects that have been called up lately suck. So that's it's kind of like, watching a roulette wheel, right? Yes. You see 40 reds in a row and you're thinking mathematically it shouldn't matter. It's 50-50, but you're still like, do I bet against the grain? Other than that, I have AJ Smith-Shawver in a bunch of teams. And I absolutely think he's going to be amazing. And I'm starting him. So yeah, I would drop him.
I would say in a 10-team league, you might not have to take that gamble. But
true. I didn't see that part. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know if the Braves are a good team. So like, I mean, how long is he going to be up there? That kind of thing. So I mean, sure, you can strike gold, but yeah, if it's a saves only league, I'm kind of out. I almost guarantee there's better out there on your waiver wire in a 10-team league, unless it's like a 30-man roster type league where they're trying to balance back out the fact that it's only 10 teams. I know of leagues like that. We talk about people on Discord all the time with those types of leagues where it's like it's only a 10-team league, and then they show us the waiver wire, and you're like, how? Oh, they had like 35 roster spots, so basically it's like 10-team dynasty at that point, and so it does get pretty shallow. But yeah, I'm kind of out on that one.
Saves and hold. Saves and hold, Charles. I just saw your comment. Do not drop. Just go ahead and drop them. It's fine.
Yeah. You can take the gamble there. There's a million relievers that you'll find. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So that changes my stance on that. Last guy here, another Oakland Athletic, JJ Bleday.
Why? You do this on purpose? I see it. Okay, cool. No problem. I got you, Joe.
I do.
Okay, I'll take this one.
I mean, they get your hopes up, and then they rip it. They rip your heart out. It's not my fault, man. I'm just telling the story.
JJ was a guy that has been discussed on this show, the Fantasy Six Pack Hour pod, with our good friend Chris Blessing, for years, because of his Moniak-esque prowess as a prospect coming up, 4th overall pick by Detroit in 2019. Just had to throw that out there. Just kidding, Miami. He just hasn't really put much together in his big league appearances.
Since you're giving all the background, can you tell us how the A's acquired JJ, please? Because I want to relive this nightmare again.
I'm gonna say that it was in somewhere around 2022, 23.
Just say the player that we gave away for him, because I want to relive this nightmare.
don't actually know.
It's okay.
I'll
help you out there. It's okay. All right, go ahead.
So yes,
I was gonna say this was the AJ Puck trade.
oh, that's right. I did know that actually.
Yeah, it's okay. I
And
want to
you would
relive
think
this
with me being an AJ, him being an AJ, and also a JJ thrown in here, it's like, hey, we just want to get rid of initials, so we're going to trade it for more initials. I get it, people. So there's a method to my madness. It's called drinking. Anyway, yes, Mr. Bleday has not lived up to much of anything with a solid BABIP of 229. Sorry. Only a 20% K rate, so not too shabby there. But he's just not.
Joe, can you invite me onto your guys' football during football season? Because I want to give AJ-esque insights, please. Please, just give me one chance to give you AJ.
All right, so
are you trying to claim I know nothing about baseball?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I want to.
I'm gonna let you two fight this one out.
Fight! I love you, AJ. Look, JJ Bleday, man, he's broken hearts. Especially people that are in dynasty leagues that drafted him. And he had a lot of love in Miami, right? We were expecting some big things, and he just sucked. I mean, it wasn't even close, right?
Showing a little bit of life here early on, but not.
Yeah,
so
he
anymore.
definitely did, and I think it was one of those things where it's like, this team loves me, and pitchers don't know, haven't figured me out yet, and then pitchers figuring him out. I mean, it's one of the classics, right? NL to AL, and nobody knows, and then they get the tape, and then they're like, okay, we got you.
Yeah.
The thing is that the A's should have tons of at-bats available, and he's been that bad that they're benching him a bunch,
finding ways to bench him,
right?
Or
and
they're
that
just
tells
trying
me
not to win.
So
that too.
Since the 16th of May, he has not played in 5 games total, but it looks like he may have pinch hit in another 2 games. How many hits does he have in that time frame? Also, just 2.
Okay, I thought this was trivia. I was gonna be like 3. Cool. That's good though, right, AJ?
Again, the good thing, only 5 strikeouts. Okay.
Well,
when you don't play, you don't strike out.
He's just somehow, managed to but he is playing. That's what I'm saying. Pinch hit today or yesterday, 0 for 1, no strikeout. 1 hit, 2 days ago in 2 appearances. I'm guessing 2 walks. It's ugly. I don't like it. So,
all right. So we were doing good on time. Then AJ got onto the AJ train and the JJ train. And
you're welcome.
I don't know what train, and we're
the
done.
initial train.
We're done.
The first train.
Okay. Anyway. So we're going to move over to a couple pitchers here because we realize we haven't talked about a whole lot of pitchers on this show in the last probably month because, they all sort of suck.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Anyway,
or they're all hurt.
We're going to talk about a breakout or bust candidate. The first one here, we're kind of cheating because we do know he's had some really phenomenal seasons, but lately, we need him to re-break out. Let's put it real. Like James Paxton, Mr. Always Injured. I mean,
need him to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, last season he got through 1 1/3 inning. I mean, it was like, holy crap, did that really just happen? But no, look, we know he can be a really good pitcher when he's healthy. He started out pretty well overall. I'm using Sierra as kind of the way to compare the pitching here. And I looked at his Sierra in early May, 185. That's phenomenal. It's dropped to 397. So, it's still not atrocious. But, can you trust this guy? Would you pick him up if he was somehow still out there in your league? Just the hope.
I picked him up already, and
he sucks now.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of our call-ups of the week. That we had picked out. I think not last week, but the week before.
Yep.
And it was exactly that. It was kind of old is new again. And, he really has 2 years or 3, if you really count it, of not pitching much. So, kind of hopefully hasn't messed up his arm. But look, I think pitching has been so bad this year. And it's either been injured or bad. It just depends on your team makeup. I have to risk in a lot of leagues because I've lost anywhere from 3 pitchers to half of my pitching staff. There's no other choice. If I had a choice, would I pick Paxton? Heck no. Right. But it's got to the point where I'm like, okay,
he's throwing some strikes. Who's actually throwing strikes and not getting crushed. I will say this. So like, take his WRC or his Sierra with a grain of salt. He got kind of crushed against the Angels. That's the one game out of the 4 he's pitched since he's come off the IL that he's been bad. 2 earned runs, 1, 5, and then 1, and he's been striking out some dudes. So like you're getting exactly what you hope for from this guy.
A 7 walks against 27 strikeouts is great. Again, for a guy who's trying to pick off the waiver wires and just kind of start. And I think 12.8 Ks per 9 against like 3 of his walks per 9. Again, that tells me somebody's not going to destroy my ratios, right? Except for that last start, which of course destroyed him. But yeah, that's serviceable right now with the landscape. I'm going to grab him. If it again off waivers, I'm not going to trade for the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up here, we got Mr. Joe Ryan. His early May Sierra was 2.98, so looking like a bit of a breakout. His Sierra last year was right around 4, but now he's back to that. So maybe not so much. Like I think a lot of people like Joe Ryan. He's got some talent. I just don't know what to make of him. Like he just doesn't seem to. He's not consistently good enough. Like what do you think?
So we highlighted Joe Ryan in the offseason because he's one of the we were looking at pitchers that went to Driveline, and Joe Ryan was one of the kind of the top of the guys that we highlighted as he went to Driveline, and he worked on a couple different things as well. Where his release points and things of that nature. The thing is that when he's been hot, he's been super hot, and he's hasn't allowed runs. The thing that's been kind of weird with him, and before we get to where he's gotten blown up, is that his K rate hasn't been, consistent at all. He's had like 2 Ks and then, 9 Ks, and then he's had 3 Ks. And that's the one thing that's kind of weird and worrisome about that. You kind of want to see at least, somebody throwing like 5 Ks per or something of that nature. That huge fluctuations, extremely odd. Especially 10, for somebody who's
7, 4, 10, 9, 4, 6. It is all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one thing. So on the other side, though, man, he's gotten blown up, and not just once. I think 3 times now that he's given up like 8+ runs. I'm doing it off the top of my head, so I apologize.
No, we're looking at like 5 and 3 and 3s and 4s, and then a couple like 0s and 1s mixed in. Okay,
Sorry about that. Yeah. But everything else though, it looks good, right? His chase rate, is one of the highest, right? He's definitely up there with his chase rate and, getting swings and misses. So I'm definitely still I'm not dropping him. And in Dynasty, for sure, I am grabbing him if he's available on the cheap. But yeah, this is definitely not a dropping guy, especially in the climate we have with pitchers. Again, what we just talked about with Paxton. I would love to have a Ryan over a Paxton any day of the week.
Yeah, his ERA is 2.77, so like he's still performing overall for you.
Right.
You just may have to like when he plays like a hot lineup, like Houston's starting to figure things out, and he got crushed.
Yep.
Maybe that's the one where you're like, maybe not today.
Right.
If you can do that, there's just, but when he plays the Cubs and he could do 10 strikeouts, 6 innings, no runs, like, okay, that's the type of guys. And, I would say like the top tier lineups could still get to him. The middle and down, I think are easy starts for him.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Ryan is, he started the year with 5 straight wins. He's an innings eater, so he's going to be out there. Really, just these last 2 games, is the only two that he's pitched less than 6 innings. And he was kind of cruising in San Fran. I'm a little surprised.
He still won. He
still got the win.
Pulled him.
They just pulled him out. And then, like you said, Houston, he got beat up. So that one made sense. I'm definitely holding Ryan. Big fan of what I've seen from him so far. His mustache could use a little bit of work, but it's coming in nicely. So I'm good with it. I'm ready to ride it. Ride him out. Sorry, not the mustache ride, or maybe the mustache.
All right. So next up, a teammate of his. I'm ignoring.
Don't you can.
Bailey Ober, of the Minnesota Twins, came up in the very end of April here. And this is like I've always been a fan of. Like every time he comes up, he seems like he performs. But he's performing way better than he did even last year. But now it's starting to go in the other direction a little bit for him. So he is not a big innings eater. I mean, we're talking like he kind of pitches 5, and that's really it.
Right.
He's not going to be like a 10, 11, 12 strikeouts per 9 guy. He's going to hover around 8, so not going to be truly great there. And I think that actually hurts his SIERA. His ERA is far better than his SIERA, and it's because he doesn't just like pummel through hitters with strikeouts, right? He's going to allow some base runners, and he's going to rely on his ground ball percentages to get him out of jams. What's your take on Ober Dap? And
Sure.
Are you selling him at a high price, thinking people might be looking at 2.68 ERA and thinking, oh, this is the real deal?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I get a nice package back for him, absolutely, I'd sell him any day of the week. Because like what you said, right, he's not going to be a high strikeout guy. I think I can definitely augment strikeouts elsewhere. Looking at relievers and things of that nature. But what surprises me when digging a little deeper, like we did a pre-show, his CSW, right, which is the called or swinging strikes, it was 27.5% before his last start, which is pretty high considering, again, this is a guy that doesn't supposedly give a lot of strikeout stuff, and his chase percentage is over 30%. Those are two things that I didn't expect considering how many people he strikes out. You'd almost expect somebody, if you just saw those two numbers, to have a much higher strikeout rate than Ober does. The ratios are great, but again, it's going to be one of those situations where did he even go 5 innings to qualify for a win? Those are the other kind of pieces that make me not a big fan of Ober. Other than that, right, he's great. Now, if you're looking at anybody that can provide quality starts or things of that nature, again, this is not going to be your guy. But if you just need like back to the thing, right? If warm body, if you've been decimated, he's perfect. He's amazing. He's way better than Paxton ever could be in this situation. And I like the team that he's on as well defensively. But I'm not a huge Ober fan. I'm just sorry. I like strikeout guys.
Yeah, I mean, in the minors, he's had seasons where he's been really good. But once he comes up, and this happened last year, it plummets. For some reason, like he could strike out 11, 12 in the minors, and then it comes down, and it's like, 8.2, 8.20, and 8.26. There you go. That's what you're getting, I guess. But I mean, the ratio you can't deny the ratios, man. It's phenomenal.
That could be because he's pitching against major league hitters and not minor league hitters.
Oh, is that it?
I'm going on a limb here.
I feel like I have to humor you sometimes, AJ, like my 6-year-old.
Going on a limb.
Is that really it? Thank you, AJ.
You know what, AJ? I think that's amazing.
Thank you for teaching me
insight.
something new.
It is.
Thank you.
It's a very insightful insight. So
thank you.
Oh my goodness.
All
right.
Go ahead and move on. I don't.
This one's another one who again we were kind of grasping at straws here, like for find some pitchers.
Excuse me, sir.
It's either been like it's either
Cream
been
of the crop.
it's either been good and good or bad and bad for pitchers. There hasn't been a lot of guys that started off like really good and they were like unexpected and now they're falling off. But like, I think Kyle Freeland falls into that category. Now we've seen glimpses of Kyle Freeland where you're like, ooh, oh, all right. But let's be real. Let's do pitchers in Colorado. So like, overall though, like it hasn't been abysmal for him. He started off really, really well outside of one just crazy bad game on the 17th of April against Pittsburgh where he allowed 9 runs. Then it was pretty decent. He actually pitched arguably worse on the road in the early part of the season than he did at home outside of that one start against Pittsburgh. And then he goes on the road, and of course, I'm like, oh, I was like desperate for pitching, and I was like, oh, he gets a 2-start week. He gets Texas and Miami, and it's at Texas, not in Colorado.
Sure.
Crushed 8 runs at Texas, and then comes back home and thankfully saves sort of a mediocre week against Miami at home. 2 runs. You're like, how do you pitch better at home than you are on the road this year? What do we do with this guy?
Oh, okay, you missed the most important part of that Rangers start, other than, of course, getting crushed. 0 strikeouts. I mean, none. No walks, but 0 strikeouts. You cannot roster this guy. He can't be anywhere near your roster. If you're getting blown up, at least strike people out, right? But if you're not even striking people out, you literally, unless you're going to get kicked out of the league because you're not meeting minimums or something, Freeland should be nowhere near your team. I mean, like I wouldn't even wish Freeland on my worst enemy unless it's AJ, right? Like, absolutely no way. There's nothing really to say. Like, he's terrible everywhere, right? It's not even like a Rockies pitcher where it's like, oh, he's better at home. Like you just said, he sucks. Sorry.
How weird is this though? A 3.38 ERA at home.
Yep.
And a 5.4 ERA away.
Yeah, I guess the humidor. Talking about strikeout, like, wavering from the last pitcher, right? Let's look at the last couple of starts, right? So April 17th against the Pirates, 1, then Philly 6, then 3, then 5, then 4, then 8, then 0. Then
he
4,
is definitely
then
not a strikeout pitcher. I mean, you're looking at a guy who's been hovering around 6.5 his whole career. No, thank you. I get it. I mean,
0?
I just know that there have been people, maybe me included, who I just admitted, that snatched him up. Like again, this was my TGFBI team that has just been crushed. I mean,
killing it. Killing it. Just you're top of the ranks. Oh, sorry. I was trying to build you up.
Are we reversing those ranks? Because that would be cool.
Whatever you want.
So I was desperate, and I was like, he was sort of on a heater there for a while.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like, well, yeah, sure, why not? 2-start week, it's too pretty. I know Texas was kind of rolling, but I took the gamble and lost, big time.
Why it's called gambling.
Yeah. So,
gotta know when to hold him, know when to fold him, and you never want to hold him if Kyle Freeland is in your hand. Dump him like a bad.
Oh yeah, he definitely got dropped the very next time. So, all right, we're gonna skip this last guy because I feel like we've talked about this last guy like every single week. So we're done.
Look out below for Bello. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to our game that we started a couple weeks ago. That Dap's idea of who's hotter, and I'm gonna have some fun with this one. I looked this up and was actually pretty shocked. Over the last 15, who's hotter, Aaron Judge or Josh Jung? And before you answer, let me just tell you this. The WRC Plus, 264 for Judge and 262 for Jung, however you pronounce it.
So as a Judge owner, as a person that owns him in a few leagues, I would say Jung just because, but that blew me away what you said. I mean, please go over it with the rest of the stats. But I mean, look, bottom line, his home runs have been great, but some of these other numbers have just not been where you expected. But go ahead. I want to hear some more Jung stuff.
Like, you look at it, and of course, when you think Aaron Judge, you think home runs, right? And so, of course, that's what he's got. 8 home runs to 4. So he wins that. He wins RBI and runs, but by a lot. 15-14, 15-12. His 1 stolen base. Jung does not steal at all. I mean, they're both hitting. They're just they're both just crushing the ball. Batting average 353 for Judge, Jung 440. BABIP for Jung is 514 though. Like, so this is not sustainable.
Right.
But I mean, it's pretty crazy just to see how good this guy Jung has played over the last couple of weeks. I was like, when I was just like, oh, let's play this game again. Let me see who like the top 2 hitters are. I was like, oh, there's Judge, and excuse me. Okay. I mean, I knew he was playing well, but not that well. Jeez. I was expecting to see like Judge and Freeman, which was number 3.
Yeah, look, Josh Jung has always been a guy that they've constantly talked about. I mean, look up, just search Josh Jung and swing change or swing mechanics or swing adjustments, and it's everywhere. It's almost every year they've hyped up his need to change his swing, or he has made a swing change. And that was something that they even put in his scouting report when he was coming out of college, that he had to change his swing to tap into his power. I think he was Texas Tech. He was coming out of Texas Tech. And so it's just interesting to me because all these years they've talked about he needed to make a change. And he just made a big change. And so far it's just interesting. So in 2023, he made, kind of another kind of large change as well. And it's obviously paying off. But it's just crazy to me that this guy has really had to go through the ringer with this swing. And, it's always had the talent, and the underlying metrics, again, were there. But it's one of those things that he finally was able to find something to make it work. And like we've heard, multiple times on the show, the Nolan Gormans of the world, things of that nature, just making those adjustments or reworking the swing entirely can lead to some pretty amazing numbers.
Yeah, I mean, exit velocity's up 7 miles per hour right now. Launch angle's up 3 degrees. Like, hard hit rates up 7. Those are pretty drastic differences, honestly, and that's gonna make all the difference in the world when you've got the potential that he does and the power that this guy has. Like, if you can start making those drastic changes, then that's where it's coming from. Now, I mean, he's not going to keep up this rate, neither is Judge. But
okay, so it comes down to this: I'm offering you a trade for whatever, a player from your team, and I can give you either Judge or Jung for one or the other. You can't have both. Who you get?
It's Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer.
All right. I just wanted, for the people watching, bottom line, I wanted to, I get the hotter thing. Don't get me wrong, hot or not. I just wanted to see if even a little doubt started swinging into your mind there.
No, I mean, yeah. Judge is going to go through his periods where he's going to hit like 2 home runs and bat, 150 for like a week.
Only 2 home runs. Oh, Judge.
You're going to get pissed. But he's going to do this where he's going to hit 8 and, bat 300, and you're going to be just fine with Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
I think.
Okay. How about in Dynasty? Would you want Judge or Jung? Again, I mean, like in the next 5 years, right? Over the next 5 years, who you can be happy with? To me, that's going to be more of a toss-up, right?
5 Judges, what? 30,
32?
31.
31, okay.
He just turned 31 in April.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's tough because, man, power. I mean, we've seen it. Power can drop off off the cliff. Although we've also seen it just keep going, right? I mean,
yeah, right.
Like, man, it's weird. Like, Judge seems like a different specimen that like he could keep it going, but you never know. Like, his body breaks down too, so that does worry me there. I don't think I'm making the swap. You'd probably have to throw in a little extra with Jung to get an Aaron Judge off of me, but I like that piece.
He's
for
hit
sure
safely in 18 of his last 20 games.
Wow.
The game that he didn't get a hit in was against Oakland.
As it should be.
Hey, all right.
Positive news. Positive news.
Oh, for 5. Only 1K, but 0 for 5. He hit safely in every game from May 15th through yesterday, and he's off today. And then the 4 games ahead of that. 2v4.
Okay.
All right, so just a couple other news and notes here that we
Exactly.
want to talk
Thank you.
about here. Yeah, Aaron
Good
Judge will
point.
miss a month when he's injured for sure. The return of Liam Hendricks, which we've already kind of talked about a little bit here. Look, I don't really know what to expect from this guy, honestly. It's a super feel good story. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. I wasn't really aware of it, honestly. I've been sort of head in the sand for some reason the last couple of days and not paying a lot of attention, working on a bunch of other things. But I knew he had beaten cancer and he was on his way back. So I just didn't know it already happened. I didn't know he had gotten the call back up.
So in December 2022, he was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and less than 6 months later, he's pitching. I mean, that's just nuts. I mean, again, feel good story, amazing, and the ovation that he got. They were flicking the lights on and off, and they were going nuts for him, as obviously they should. And his first pitch is a strike. Don't care the rest of the stat line. Honestly, could have just stood up there and then walked off, and I would have been completely fine and happy with it. I had chills, and obviously I'm an Oakland A's fan. I had chills on it, and it's just an amazing story. I'm so happy for him and his family, and obviously the entire community. And I think it's an amazing pillar for other people battling cancer as well. That somebody like that could overcome this type of disease. So great story.
So from a fantasy perspective, do you think he takes back this closer role? Like, no doubt, if he pitches leave relatively well, because
I think the White Sox are such a mess. The White Sox are such a mess that I think absolutely there's room for him to take it. I picked him up. Again, from a fantasy perspective, I picked him up, and he's been sitting on all my ILs wherever I had him. He absolutely, I think, he can grab it with no problem. And I think, honestly, the White Sox want to give it to him, not only because of I want them to. I can almost see them say, "Look, you don't lose your spot because of cancer." You know what I mean? They're old school enough that I see them do that versus look at the metrics or whatever. I see them definitely trying to move them into the closer role as quickly as possible.
Yeah. AJ, you sound like you were about to say something. Sorry.
I was just going to say, we saw it with Trey Mancini, too, coming back and had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
When he returned, I've always been a fan of Hendricks, even when he did have to pitch for Oakland. But that's really where he kind of came up and started, making some noise.
I stood up for you, man. I've been standing up for you, AJ. This is how you treat me. I got it.
I'm standing up for Hendricks right now and cancer and the Oakland A's, because that's where I first found out about Hendricks and how great he was. But yeah, a great story. Glad to see him back. And I hope he does regain this role. I think he will. And I think he's going to run with it. So.
Yeah. All right.
So next piece of news, we got some good news also. Jordan Walker's back for the St. Louis Cardinals here. Got sent down, lack of playing time. Our boy Nolan Gorman pushed him out.
Darn you, Nolan.
I'll be honest though, man. He hasn't really done great in the minors. 239 average down there. I mean, some of the counting stats, okay. I mean, 4 bombs, 14 runs, 16 RBI. But you expect a guy with this kind of talent to go down to the minors and just absolutely rake, which is what he did last year and the year before. He got sent down, and I don't know if he just wasn't interested. But, he actually hit better when he was up with a major league team. He just, I guess, Gorman outplayed him. So, I guess my question is whose spot in the lineup is he actually taking? Because the Cardinals have been playing a lot better lately.
Everybody's.
And is it consistent enough playing time that it's worth, them calling him up, or do we expect him to potentially just get sent back down soon?
Well, so first off, I mean, look, anytime somebody who's a highly touted prospect, right, is going to get sent down, you gotta have to be bummed. These guys aren't robots, and I expected, kind of somebody to, act like that. Your stat line's dead on, but I think that, he definitely found his rhythm here in the last 10 games, and it was batting .342 with 5 extra base hits, 8 RBIs in his last 10 games, and that's by MLB Pipeline. I think that he was always kind of, like you said, he needed to find at bats. Look, there's a lot there. Paul DeJong for one. If I don't even know why he's still at the major league club, but there's a ton of places there that I think that he could find an at bat. And frankly,
can he play shortstop?
No, but I mean, we talked about the other players that could be moved. I mean, they could be shuffled around, right? I mean,
sure.
Yes.
This obviously, I mean, this has to do more obviously with Newbar getting injured, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just being.
I know. I'm just saying, like, you just wonder, like, I don't know how severe that injury is, so like, you just wonder, like, if when he comes back, if he's just gonna step back down, that kind of thing, and so that's the worry there. Is like, but however, if for some reason he was sitting on your waiver wire, I'm sure by the time we've recorded this show, he's been gone. He's been snatched up, but hopefully
right.
You were, lucky enough to grab him if he got dropped. And yeah, I mean, look, I'm taking
Lars Newbar, Dylan Carlson, Tyler O'Neill, and Tyler O'Neill is kind of the guy that was supposed to, be amazing, but none of those guys have really, in my mind, just completely separated themselves from Jordan Walker. And I was
Burleson.
Yeah, and I was being ridiculous, obviously, about Jung, just because we talked about him during our prep, and oh my god, I didn't realize how bad those stats were. He needs to learn how to play shortstop. But yeah, Jordan Walker, if he's on your waiver wires, go grab him now before any of your league mates, see this show and go grab him. It was only called out a couple hours ago.
Yeah. Last piece of news here.
Your boy.
Bad news, but I'm not really super sad about it because we traded him.
Yes, we did, because we knew this was coming.
Chris Sale pulled from today's start after 3 2/3 inning with a shoulder injury. It just looked wonky. Go look at the clip. He like threw and then like he just sort of like jumped up because you could tell it just like they're just calling it like shoulder soreness or whatever right now, but it just looked weird. And so he was cruising though, like, and he's been really good the last month, really.
Right.
He got through that first month and was good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. He's been cruising, striking out a ton of bats. Was doing it again tonight, and then the shoulder injury. So I think I would expect an IL stint from him. I'd be shocked if he didn't. They're going to protect this guy as much as possible. They're paying him a boatload of money still, so they've got to try to get some sort of return on investment here with him. But I don't know. No, I don't think anybody's shocked.
Right, that's the thing, right? It's I just traded for Glass now, and so I'm going to suffer a similar fate. But I know what I'm getting with him, and you should know what you're getting with Sale, right?
Who's the next man up in Boston now, though? I wonder.
Oh goodness! I mean, probably gonna be. Oh god, I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head now.
Hulk.
Oh well, thanks a lot, man.
Clearly, memorable.
Shut up. Good point.
I don't really know who it's going to be.
I don't know who's going to be they're probably going to call up one of the, not call up, but they're probably going to grab one of the bullpen arms. Would be my guess.
Houck's already in the rotation, so like they're already struggling here with this. So
Kluber,
do they grab Brian Mata out of AAA? Would be my only other thought. But I don't even know how he's doing this year. And then you have Brandon Walter. So those two, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, good luck. But Mata's not doing good, so I would guess not him.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I really don't know who it's going to be, and honestly, it's probably not anybody that I would say go out and grab. Like, we're not that desperate to go grab whoever crappy bullpen or crappy.
I'd rather grab Freeland than whoever they're about to put up there.
Ooh, wow. Man.
So, yes. Oh, yeah, and yeah. Look, I do like this. So look. If you traded for sale thinking that you were going to have somebody that was going to play all season, you're insane. And I also would like to trade with you more often, whoever that person is. So please let me know if you thought Sale was going to play all season, so I could trade with you. Because
if you are not aware, this is a complete burn on a manager in one of the dynasty leagues that we share a team in. So yes, thank you. All right, guys, that is it for the show. I want to thank you for joining, and we will be back next week to discuss some more baseball. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, see you.
Yep.
Thank you.